Hey YouTube, Maxie 2021 here, coming at you with another haul slash sustained industry video. It's time for June 2019. I would have done this sooner, like maybe last week, because I was waiting on something that came out last month to come in, and it hasn't come in yet. I don't know when it's going to be arriving, hopefully soon. So I didn't really feel like waiting anymore to do this haul video or whatever, so I'm just gonna do it now. Alright, first up, let's get the most important one out of the way. Volume 1 of Comey Can't Communicate, or Comey-san Can't Communicate. I just like saying Comey-san because that's what I'm used to saying. Here's a comparison between the two volumes. I'm planning on doing a video on the my thoughts on the English release, since I've been reading this online for about 2 years. And I was also waiting for Volume 13 to come in. That's the thing I mentioned that I was waiting on before doing this haul video. What else I was going to say? But, yeah, maybe I'll do that video later today. I don't know. Now for the dust jacket, like you got the front covers are the same. You got like text on the inside, and then on the back you got little chibis of some of the characters that show up in the series, and it's like that for every volume. But hold on. But they went and relegated these to this last page that has like little author's note about the guy. So that's cool. I'm expecting them to do that for the rest of the English volumes. And then on the inside, the dust jacket, you got a color image, or one of the color illustrations from, I guess the magazine, and they want to move that to the back cover, so that's cool. But yeah, expect a video on this soon, even though I did one last year. But yeah, it never hurts to do another one. Okay, let's get that out of the way. Next up, we got Volume 7 of Sleepy Princess in the Demon Castle. I've said it before, I've said it again. Go read this, it's really good. Probably my current favorite comedy manga that's not Cromartie High School. I'd say aside from that one crossover chapter that was in Volume 4, I'd either say Volume 6 or 7 would be my favorite volumes so far, since I haven't really read any of it online yet, aside from that one crossover chapter with Komi-san. But yeah, it's pretty good, at least from what I've read so far. I think it's worth checking out. This is the most recent volume. Volume 8 comes out next month, same day as Volume 2 of Comey. So, yeah, looking forward to that. Next up, we got Volume 19 of My Hero Academia. I know a lot of people don't really like this arc, but I thought it was decent, I guess. The one thing I noticed with the current arc in the manga is that this one character gets referenced by another character that shows up in this arc, and it's actually in this volume. I think either during the chapter he gets introduced or the following chapter, but he name drops like three different characters, and one of them ends up getting referenced again in the current arc by another character that shows up in the current arc. I don't really want to give it away for anybody that's not reading it online or just sticking to the English release. So, yeah, be on the lookout for that. Next up, we got volumes 3 and 8 of Midori Days. Just need volume 6, but I think that one's the priciest one from what I've seen so far. I think it's going for close to 20. So I'm just going to wait till I have a little extra money to pick it up, and then I'll finally read all of it, since I've only read the first volume or whatever. But, before I get to the last thing, I'm going to show the one anime I got. Blu-ray release for Space Runaway Ideon. This was directed by Yoshiyuki Tomino. He's a guy that made Gundam, among other anime like Aura Battler Dunbine, Garzy's Wing. Let's see what else. Overman King Gainer. I think he did Raideen. I'm not sure. But, yeah, he's a big deal. This release comes with all 39 episodes and both movies on 6 discs. There's no reversible cover, unfortunately, but here's the disc, or the artwork on the disc, I guess. So you got the TV show on 5 disc, and then you got both movies on the last one. Let's see what I was gonna say. One thing I want to mention about Ideon is that Tomino did this after the first Gundam anime, and as far as I'm aware, this has the highest kill count out of like anything ever. Like maybe just an anime, but I know that kill count's really high. And the reason for that is in the second movie, Ideon ends up wiping out the entire universe, more or less. And I mean, like before that, before the second movie, a lot of people do end up dying, from what I've been told or what I've heard. Ooh. Speaking of Ideon, I can finally talk about this again. It's a reprint of these 2 Gundam related manga. One of them's got something to do with Victory Gundam. I don't know how it ties into that, since I haven't watched Victory Gundam yet. But the other one is called Gigantus's Counterattack. That one was, the guy that did that manga, I think he went on to go do Crossbone Gundam. But, let's see. Not really sure what I wanted to say about this, other than now I can tell people about this without having to pull up screenshots or whatever because I can just pull this out. Well, since I only got one more thing to show, I guess I can talk a little bit more about this. Oh, right. Before I say what I was going to say, I forgot to mention that Hideaki Anno has gone on record to say that Ideon was a major influence for Evangelion. I don't know exactly how it influenced it or in what regard it was an influence, but he's said that in an interview before. There's a reference to Ideon in episode 4 Die Buster when Nono slices that planet thing in half. That's a reference to Ideon's sword attack, which can also slice stuff in half, but I think it can also extend infinitely. And then in Kill la Kill, there's this one part during, I think one of the early episodes, when Mako's doing her little rant thing, and she ends up making the Ideon symbol that appears on the gauge inside the vehicles that combine to make Ideon. Like, she makes part of the symbol, and then, like, some lines show up around her or whatever. But, anyways, as for my experience with this, because I don't know if I'm going to do a video talking about it after I finish it, I downloaded all the episodes in the movies back in 2011 or 2012, and I watched about 4 episodes, I think. And then the hard drive that I had, a lot of anime and TV shows and music and movies and whatnot, saved on. Something happened to it. I can't really use it anymore. I'm still not sure what happened, but I never got a chance to finish it. And then last month I saw it was going for about half off on Amazon. I think $35. And yeah, I didn't want to pass it up because I didn't know if it was ever going to be that low again. So most of the stuff that I know about Ideon is stuff that I've read on it. As for why there's 2 movies, it ended up getting canceled early once it got to like 39 episodes, and then they did a compilation movie, which I think is called Ideon A Contact. Yeah, that's the name for it. And that just like retells the events of the show. And then there's the second movie, Ideon Be Invoked, which what was it? Which is essentially the last several episodes that were going to be in the TV show before it got canceled. So yeah, you're getting the entire series and the movie with this one. And yeah, like for the longest time I never thought that it would get an English release, because a while back it did get a Blu-ray release in Japan, and I honestly considered importing it at some point in time, but complete Blu-ray sets over in Japan are pretty pricey from what I've seen, so I just never got around to doing it. And this specific release actually came out back in February of this year, and I would have gotten it, but I was pretty much broke at the time it came out because of like bills and other responsibilities. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to finally finishing it. So Yeah, that's cool. And lastly, yeah, I know that went on for a bit longer than I intended. Sorry about that. But lastly, we got the first volume of the Berserk Deluxe Edition. Now, I was planning on doing a video on this, and there are other videos I've seen where they like talk about this volume and like compare it to the single volumes. And here's a little back flyer thing that they keep on the back under the cellophane. Let's keep that back here. I don't really want to show too much. But yeah, before I do a video on this, I guess I'll talk about it a little bit. These are, the deluxe edition volumes are 3-in-1 volumes for Berserk. So, got the first 3 volumes. And the second one just came out, I think, this week. Wait, yeah, it came out yesterday. Anyways, yeah, you got you got 3-in-1 volumes for each of these. These are also $49.99. So you're gonna be putting up at least $50 if you want one of these. Oops, forgot to change the brightening. Adjust the brightness. Personally, I think it's worth picking up, especially if you're a fan of Berserk. But if you're not a fan of Berserk, like you've never read it before, or you're considering getting it, I'd say maybe pick this up if you have the money for it, since it is $50. And the individual volumes, let me get to this. Individual volumes are about 15. So with this release, you're paying about $5 more than you were if you were to get each individual volume included. Since 15 times 3 is 45. But you're also getting some high quality pages, and the page size is really big. So yeah, I personally think it's worth it, like especially if you're a fan of Berserk already. But oh, there's the god hand. But as for anybody that's never read it, I think it might be better to just stick with the single releases or the single volumes if you can get them for like a discount price or whatever. Yeah, I'm not really sure what else I want to say about it. Maybe I'll talk more whenever I do a video on it. But Yeah, I'd say like if it's worth it, it might depend from person to person. So yeah, that's pretty much everything. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video whenever I get around to doing another one.